Titan. And Jim Davis, we have come to know him as a Tron player, mono green Tron here. Matchup very much about lands that tap for more than 1 mana. Couple mulligans being traded here. Jim Davis started on 6, Daryl Ayers on 5. Jim starts with an Expedition map off of an Urza's Mine. Ayers, Forest into Sakura Tribe Scout. Urza's Tower for Davis. He is online for the turn 3 Tron.
Yeah, I mean, that turn 3 Tron, that's exactly where we want to be, and it's just going to come down to whether or not he has a payoff. But Daryl Ayers' start on 5 cards is also very good, except he just declared Sakura Tribe Scout as an attacker.
Not great, but he did it with such a flourish that, you know, it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
You just Sun Home, Amulet, attack you to 19. Jim will go and find that Urza's Power Plant. I believe I have spotted a Karn in hand.
Yeah, I mean, turn 3 Karn is exactly the draw that this mono green Tron deck is built towards on turn 3. So if he's able to cast that Karn here, and he's going to have a couple of decisions. I kind of like ticking down just a Stone Rain because Daryl Ayers didn't try to put a land on the battlefield. And, okay, no, that's it, that's
Whoa,
it.
Hey, Karn only exiles 1 permanent. Davis just shows, hey, I had Tower Ulamog too. Thanks for playing. Dale Ayers down, Jim Davis up 1-0.
Wow, that was rude.
And sideboard, we're still getting sideboards generated. Let the players take a breather after that whirlwind of a match that they're starting out here.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah, these are 2 decks
wah,
that...
wah. Is that okay? I mean, Daryl he had a great start, but without a bounce lane to really capitalize, as well as Jim Davis just having that Karn, it was just so brutal. Now, if Daryl had just passed turn with Sakura Tribe Scout, that actually might have made Jim's minus that much more difficult, because if he targets a land, Daryl could actually threaten to put in a bounce lane and protect it. If he targets the Amulet of Vigor, then, you know, no harm, no foul. Like, he just can still potentially draw out of it, given, like, a really good peel off the top.
Sure. I think that he probably would have lost to the Ulamog still.
Oh, yeah. There's no question.
I would not classify that game as particularly close.
I never said it was close. All right, for Daryl Ayers' side, we got 4 Path to Exile. Those are not coming in. 3 copies in the gate. I can assure you that all 3 of them are coming in. 1 Raymond App Excavator. Don't like that one too much. Constant Crackdown, not really for this matchup. A Tireless Tracker. I could see that one being okay. And then a Cavern of Souls, a Horned Queen, a Chameleon Colossus. All these cards just kind of like tutor targets for various tutor things that aren't so good.
Yeah, so a couple options there. Nothing too exciting. For Jim Davis, 4 Thrag Tusk, 4 Nature's Claim, 3 Thought Knot Seer, 2 Spatial Contortion, a Graph Digger's Cage, a Dismember, an Injured Explosives, and a Reclamation Sage. Seems like he's mostly trying to be a Stone Rain deck in this matchup. Do you like any of this stuff, though?
Yeah, I like just containing the speed, because if the games go long enough, cards like Ulamog and Karn should buy you enough of an advantage, and you just need to make sure you can get to that point. I like Thought Knots here as an early form of disruption to potentially steal something like Primeval Titan out of Daryl's hand, especially if you're going to be trying to hit those artifacts with Nature's Claim or hit those creatures with Spatial Contortion and Dismember. But I'm sure Jim knows how he's going to sideboard in this matchup. He's very well versed with Tron, and I can only assume the Amulet Titan is a fairly common matchup for him.
Yeah, these are 2 decks that have been around for a while, but there are some new cards coming out. War of the Spark is on the horizon, a new standard legal set that we have pre-orders available. Those are up on the site now. It's shipped Friday, May 3rd. This is a really exciting set. There's going to be a Planeswalker in every booster pack.
Yeah, and now they've said there's a Planeswalker in every booster pack, and you may think to yourself, oh man, I bet this is just going to be a super powered format. It's not going to be very fun. I'm just going to lose the Planeswalker. I'm telling you, the Planeswalker in this set are going to be way more like the Sagas from Dominaria. In my opinion, that is the only way you can justify putting 36 Planeswalkers in a set is to power them down a little. So I think you're going to see Planeswalkers that have like 2 or 3 mana investment, and they're just like a couple of tick downs and they're done. And that's it. And your opponent, yeah, they may be able to negate one of the tick downs by attacking it or something, but there's not going to be an ultimate on every Planeswalker. There's not going to be a tick up on every Planeswalker. You're just going to see a bit of a different design perspective on how to build these Planeswalkers, because War of the Spark is all about the Planeswalkers, but You can't just ruin Standard.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some hemming and hawing about, oh, that's a lot of Planeswalkers, which is just, I take a step back, think about all the people that play Magic. You ever been at a pre-release when a kitchen table player opens a Planeswalker? Okay,
feels
I
good,
think
man.
this is in line to be one of the best-selling sets of all time just because of that.
I mean, that's certainly fair. I mean, if they told me that there was a Mythic Rare in every pack, I would be like, all right, I'm just going to buy a couple of those packs. Why not? I mean, I don't know. I'm a little afraid of how it'll impact Limited as well as how it'll impact Constructed if they're all very good or okay. Because some of the most innocuous-looking Planeswalkers that we've ever seen in Magic sometimes end up just being nuts.
Well, here's where I stand on that. That's your initial reaction, your knee-jerk is, oh, this could go wrong. There's some very smart people working on the game. Obviously, they were thinking about that. So until you feel the format ruin, don't call it ruined.
I didn't say it was ruined.
I'm not saying. I'm talking generally.
Oh, you're telling the plebs.
I'm talking to the people of the audience. Some of them with less informed opinions than others. Looks like both players mulliganing again here. These are decks that do generally look for a fair amount of mulligans. The Amulet Titan deck, I think I would fail a lot of keeper mulligan tests on this one.
Oh, absolutely. But it's also a deck that is not only complex to pilot, but some of the opening sequences, they might seem good or bad based on X, Y, or Z. And if you're not an experienced pilot, you're just not going to know because you just don't see a line or you don't understand how you're supposed to operate in a specific matchup. Like just yesterday, Matt Dilks was on camera. I believe you were doing the spotter, right? And you asked him about a hand because he kept 4 land, 2 Zusa, and a Sakura Tribe Scout or whatever, but two of them were bounce lands.
Yeah, got smushed. Game wasn't close.
Right, but it was 100% a keep because he has 6 mana on turn 3.
Right.
Well, I mean, come on.
That's what he sold me.
Yeah, I mean, I sold
up to
myself.
and including the come on.
Come on.
Come on.
Come on, buddy. All right, Daryl is here leading off with Ancient Stirrings finds a Teleria West. Jim's going to try to assemble that Tron on turn 3 again. Let's see if he's got it.
Power Plant and Chromatic Star. This one is not a guarantee of anything. See how that shapes up. Ayers has Simic Growth Chamber on 2. Picks up the Forest. No other action.
Now, both of these decks mulligan quite well. The bounce lands from Dale or Ayers' side of things kind of make up for a card as long as your land doesn't get hit with any sort of land destruction or Blood Moon type effect. Whereas Jim Davis's deck has so much redundancy and so little in what it's trying to accomplish. It's literally just trying to assemble 3 different lands with 3 different names and then cast any of these giant expensive monsters. So you get left a lot of times with a Tron deck, you either winning by a mile with 4 extra cards in hand or losing by a mile because you didn't assemble one of those 2 pieces.
Jim did not naturally have a second land of any variety. You see him crack the Star, Ancient Stirrings, finds Forest. Not really what he was looking for, but there is a Sylvan Scrying in hand, 2 copies actually, so he can get to Tron if he's given enough time.
Yeah, and time is always going to be the issue in this matchup because both players are kind of racing to hit their 6 and 7 drops. Now, Daryl here looks like he has a much better start than Jim. Turn 3 is Zusa, followed by a bounce land. He has potential of 6 mana next turn and potentially a Primeval Titan coming down.
Yeah, plenty of mana on that side of the table. Davis draws another Sylvan Scrying, so 3 of those in the hand. Just a chromatic sphere on the table. He'll sacrifice that using the Power Plant. Draw a card. It's Sanctum of Ugin. Just can't really naturally find Tron pieces, it seems.
Yeah, and that's kind of what he was hoping to draw a natural Tron piece, and then he was going to Sylvan Scrying for the other one, so he could potentially do Tron on the following turn. Now he's going to cast Sylvan Scrying, go get a Tron piece, and then play Expedition Map more than likely, and then hope to peel the Tron piece naturally, but if not, he's going to crack, play the 3rd Tron land, and hope that he gets an extra turn. But as long as Daryl has a payoff here, there's a chance that Jim is just dead.
Yeah, Davis really wanted to hit that Tron so he could do something like Karn, a Primeval Titan, hope that things don't get worse from there.
Here's a weird question. Why is it called Tron?
It's a pop culture reference. It harkens back to a time when Magic deck names had very little to do with the game and more to do with the nerds playing it.
Yeah, I don't think that's it.
Pretty sure that's it.
I don't know, man.
you got a different answer? You're
Yeah.
saying that my answer has to be wrong?
I mean, I'm pretty sure it's wrong. I don't know if it has to be wrong. I just think the naming behind Tron has always kind of baffled me because
I think it's a Voltron reference.
yes, that's it. Okay, no, that is 100%
Which is
the
just
reference.
speaking to my answer in a more specific way.
Yes. So
Anyway, he's from Evil Titan.
I'm not wrong. I am technically correct.
The best kind.
All right, now Daryl here plays his land for the turn and then gets to play 2 extra lands via the Azusa, including the Ghost Quarter that he searched up as well as the bounce land that he used to bounce it. And he's going to knock off that Tron piece and keep Jim off of playing any big baddie on the following turn. And then Primetime just going to keep generating advantage after advantage while Jim kind of flounders to find his land setup.
Yeah, Davis had enough trouble finding Tron on his own. Ayers is just going to break that up with that Ghost Quarter, and it looks like he should be able to untap with that Primeval Titan as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jim, I think his best play here is something like Thought Not Seer. He can crack Expedition Map and get a second Tron piece and still not have the third one. Potentially just go Sylvan Scrying for it. But Daryl, if he has a second Ghost Quarter in his deck, which I'm going to take a peek. One Ghost main. Yep, no, it's just the one. So can't go get another Ghost Quarter and do the exact same thing next turn. Doesn't have access to a Field of Ruin either.
He has that sideboard Excavator.
Does have sideboard Excavator, so potentially could go get Talaria West and a bounce land, transmute it for Summoner's Pack. Summoner's Pack for
And that's how you Amulet Titan.
yeah, and that's how the deck works, just in convoluted ways that don't make any sense and that drive me crazy.
Davis spins the tires a little bit, sets up so he could have had Tron next turn. If not for this Primal Command, that's going to change that equation. Put one of those Tron pieces back on top, go tutor for a creature. I don't know, maybe that Excavator?
Yeah, I think Excavator is a nice one here, and then he can get back the Ghost Quarter, use that to pop off on the Urza's land that's still on the battlefield, which actually shuffles away the top card. Jim, man, why are you still playing? Come on.
Well, your game one took, 7 minutes?
Come on.
So he's got some time to kill. Ghost Quarter does take out that last Tron piece. Davis up 2-3 for us, but
he can do
Azusa
that.
ramming up Excavator.
Oh.
You can do that a couple times. And yeah, once you're getting strip mined,
over and over again.
losing Tron was bad enough. All right, just getting outright strip mined. No, thank you.
Yeah, Jim's got a little smirk on his face, just like, that's quite good against Smart Deck.
It's a combination deck.
Yeah. I mean, that's why the one Raymond Excavator is there in the sideboard. When you pair that with your 4 copies of Azusa, it's pretty nice, you know. We've seen it before in other strategies. Personally, I would love if they unbanned Green Sun Zenith just so I could play a deck that played like either 4 Excavator and 1 Azusa or vice versa, just so I could Green Sun for the other part of it and just Ghost Quarter the heck out of my opponent. Especially with something like Leon and Arbiter too, just to pair well with the Ghost Quarters.
Yeah, they should definitely update the ban list in a way that it makes it more likely that players get strip mined.
Yes.
I think that would be a good direction for the format.
I do too. Look, when everything is land based or graveyard based, like, come on, what could go wrong?
I have, at different points in modern history, been a little bit miffed about how difficult it can be to interact with lands. There's some very powerful lands in the format.
Yes.
But the best land interaction that I've seen so far was banning Ayavugan. That was a good update. That was a good land interaction. Daryl Ayers, a player that really knows his way around lands. You see him play this Amulet Titan deck so much. Last year, played 5 opens. Got 1 top 8 there, but all-time 9 top 8s and 1 win. That was in Legacy. He actually has wanted to play Legacy this weekend. He kind of didn't want to day 2, so he could bust off. He has a Teamer Delver deck he's been working on. Might be playing that next weekend in Cincinnati. Okay. Remember, his win was Teamer Delver with Treasure Cruise featuring Kurt Ape.
That's gas. That was the time where he actually decided to cut Nimble Mongoose in favor of Kurt Ape because of how Treasure Cruise worked poorly with Nimble Mongoose. So
yes.
Daryl, longtime player here on the SCG Tour, 9 top 8s with a win. Apparently he has a personalized license plate that reads Goulet, which is a Magic inside joke from about 5 years ago that no one says anymore, except BBD.
And maybe arguably shouldn't have ever really said.
You know.
So he's 25. Got a good resume for a 25-year-old.
Oh, absolutely. When I was 25, I think I had 1 top 8 or something. Maybe 2. I don't know.
He's a player that I think we're going to see around a lot. We see him pretty regular here on the tour. Also known for playing lands in Legacy.
Right. I mean, he's been on the SCG Tour a lot this year alongside Edgar Magalhaes as well as Matt Dilks. They are the Amulet Titan contingent as far as I'm concerned. With Dom Harvey kind of off to the side doing his own thing every week with the deck. So these three players working a lot together on these archetypes. Now, I'll say this. I know for a fact Daryl's got a real job, and he's been going to school over the last couple of years. And I think he might actually be in a spot where he's got a little time off. You know, he gets to travel to do his job. Doesn't have to work, 5 or 6 days a week. Gets to work, 3 or 4 days a week and just a lot extra hours. So he has some time on the weekends to travel. So
I'll say this. Dilks, Ayers, Magalhaes, 4 for 4 in Team Open top 8s.
Nice. That is a powerful stat.
Yes. That's a reason to stick around and keep on the grind.
Yeah, no kidding. And all three of them doing quite well this year as far as overall points is concerned, too.
Players looking at 7s. Jim Davis looks very unsatisfied with his. Yeah. But it might be one of those unhappy to be keeping kind of faces. Hard to get a real read on that. The Tron deck does this to you sometimes.
I mean, this could be like a strain of, like, I have 2 pieces of Tron and literal nothing else except, like, payoffs. And sometimes you just got to gamble and keep. Tron guy would keep, right?
That's true.
You got 2 pieces of Tron.
It's always there.
I don't think Jim's Tron guy.
No,
he's a
going
smart
to
guy
6.
who likes to play Tron.
Yeah.
A Tannen Gray strategy.
And you end up with these weird-looking hands and deck-building configurations when your curve goes 1, 2, 7. It's just you get some real weird-looking hands.
Oh yeah. Now, Daryl looks like he's fairly happy with his 6-card hand, but doesn't really like being in this matchup, but pretty happy his opponent is going down to 5 cards. If the Tron deck's able to play a turn 3 Karn and knock off one of those bounce lands that you had to play early, if you don't have a fast start, it could be game over pretty quick for the Titan deck. But with Jim on 5 cards, that turn 3 Tron is becoming less and less likely.
Yeah, Jim is at least on the play. So, if he has it, it's probably really good.
Yeah.
But you got to have it.
Now, it looks like he's opened up with a hand with no Tron pieces and going to go to 4 cards. Now, 4 cards is normally a death sentence for decks in Magic. But in this particular matchup, Jim could have a hand, and because his deck is so redundant, Jim could have a 4-card hand that hits Tron and Karn, and it wouldn't even be that difficult. 2 Tron pieces, a Chromatic Star, and some kind of search effect, right? And then all you have to find at that point is a payoff. The mana is the most important part, so if he's got a 4-card hand that features, basically any 2 lands, and hopefully 2 of those lands are just 2 different Tron pieces, and then, some way to get green mana and some way to search. Like, it's possible.
Yeah, or just Expedition Map.
Right.
That one's easy mode. Jim is mulliganing quite low. This is a deck that seeks to benefit a fair amount from the potential London mulligan rule update.
Yeah, and remember what I said earlier where Tron usually wins and loses in spades? It's a landslide victory one way or another. It's because the deck usually has a bunch of extras of one side or the other of its deck. It's basically just a combination deck that has, 10 of one thing and 10 of another. And when the London mulligan comes around, you're going to see decks like Tron start to flourish because if they mull to 6 or 5, they get to pick the best 5 of that and keep 1 payoff and throw a couple payoffs to the bottom and keep their mana. Or if they have natural Tron and no payoffs, they just, keep the natural Tron, throw away a couple of the extra pieces, and then all they have to do is draw, one of their big things.
4-card hand for Davis yielded no lands of any variety. He's actually going down to 3 from here.
This is the Tron guy punishment. You failed to keep the 2 Tron piece hand with literal nothing to do or cast. And now you're on 3. You'd be lucky to have 2 Tron pieces in a 3-card hand.
He's got one. There's one. Can you really ask for that much more?
Can you go to 2?
If you mulligan to 2, you could have 2 Tron pieces.
That's true.
So you know.
That's true.
Scry to the bottom for Davis. Where's his tower go?
Jim is not a happy camper right now, but, even with a loss here in this match, this is not a foregone conclusion.
Ooh, or is this mine? Ayers does have Forest Amulet of Vigor, but Davis is doing his thing. Gemstone Mine go.
Yeah, I mean, 2 Tron pieces. If he just hits Tron piece off the top here, plays a Wormcoil Engine. Oh,
double mine.
Wrong one.
This is reminiscent of a lot of stuff I saw upstairs in the casino floor this weekend. It's like a slot machine.
7. Come on, 7.
Bar.
Womp, womp, womp.
Forest is the 4th land. Jim Davis not Troning, doing it the hard way. 2 cards in hand. Go back to Ayers. Had a Colony Garden, has a plant token. Any Asusas, any Primeval Titans? What are we doing here?
I mean, he didn't have an Azusa on 3. He could have played one because the Amulet of Vigor let that Colony Garden come in untapped. Looks like he has a bounce land in hand, but nothing really to do with 5 mana in the deck. You know.
So the Simic Growth Chamber, he's thinking about playing it. Sometimes you're in a position where you only have 1 bounce land and you just kind of hold on to it. He has one of those sideboard negates in hand. So he'll play the Growth Chamber, that'll untap.
Yeah, and he's got to bounce a land here, and he's holding up the negate because he doesn't want to get hit with something like a Karn if Jim does randomly draw a 3rd Tron piece.
So it's like a tap of 5 mana here.
Yeah, we still have that Simic Growth Chamber on the stack. He's going to bounce itself and spend that 5 mana to cast Primal Command. Now, this is going to put the Urza's Tower on top and search up something for Daryl. He's going to go get a Zusa, which with 3 potential land drops next turn lets him cast a Primeval Titan. So things are looking up for Daryl, and that Primal Command's been doing some work for him this week, I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, it's been a nice little one-of that we've seen in these Amulet Titan decks. David just has to redraw and play that tower. Now Daryl Ayers can go to work.
Yeah, and with the land drop for the turn and the 2 extra from Azusa, he's able to play that Simic Growth Chamber 3 times, float 6 mana, and then return the Gemstone, cast Primeval Titan, and do the whole shebang with Amulet Titan. You get Slayer Stronghold, you get Boros Garrison, you give it haste, you attack, you get 2 more lands. Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Jim needs a real good draw here.
Attack for 8, another Titan trigger. Ayers did pick up his Colony Garden with that Boros Garrison. That's whatever.
Yeah, I mean, here I think he's just going to go get Ghost Quarter for sure, and it comes in untapped thanks to the Amulet of Vigor. And then he gets Teleria West as a thing to pick up next turn potentially to use as a tutor effect. But Ghost Quarter here going to knock off the Urza's Tower on draw step, and that's going to make it so that Jem's unable to assemble Tron yet again. And that's going to be all she wrote.
And the reason you do a draw step, your opponent's more likely to draw Forest if there's more Forest still in their deck, and Jim actually did exactly that, drew Forest for turn.
Yeah, and here, I mean, it's minimal, but it happened, and that's a bad thing. Jim didn't really have a play. Mulligan to 3 this game. What do you expect? There was a light at the end of the tunnel for a moment.
Ayers going to play 3 lands. None of them too fancy, just a bunch of mana sources. Looking at a big tap, though, maybe a 2nd Primeval Titan.
Yeah, 2nd Primeval Titan would allow him to give that one haste as well, and then he gets to attack and threaten lethal by just attacking with his 2 Primeval Titans, and then he can double strike whichever one doesn't get targeted by a potential removal spell.
Oh, okay. But yeah, Daryl Ayers going to go up 2-1 over Jim Davis there. Davis taking a mulligan to 3 there. Didn't look pretty. He'll fall to 9-2-1. Still a live record as far as I understand it. Weird one, but not the worst.
Yeah, I mean, as long as you don't have effectively 3 losses or worse, you know, you're in great shape. X2-1 with 3 rounds to go. Probably has to win all 3. A loss probably knocks him out of contention. But if Jim's able to capitalize on this pretty great